Are you sure 3 plus 4 is 7?
Yeah,
How do you know?
because how I count to this. 1, 2, 3, and then we need 4 more.
Oh, you're so smart. Hi, my name is Alyssa. This is my daughter Zoe and my son Huey. Say hi.
The sons of our
And in this video, I am going to be showing you how to make pemmican. Pemmican is a traditional Native American food that dates back multiple centuries. In the past, it was made when they had a surplus of buffalo or bison meat that they wanted to preserve to be eaten at a later date. Made with equal parts by weight of dried meat and tallow, pemmican is a complete food providing all the protein, fat, and calories you need and can be stored for a year or more without refrigeration. I've been very intrigued by the idea of pemmican since first learning about it in Vilhjalmur Stephenson's book, Not by Bread Alone. But it's not until recent that I had a desire to make it myself. We live in a crazy world these days, as you know, and with all the talk about increasing food shortages and rising food costs, I have started to take steps to ensure that my family continues to have food security if an extreme famine were to take place. This has included getting my feet wet in the world of hunting and fishing and preparing wild game, as well as storing shelf-stable food like the 100 cans of sardines sitting in my kitchen right now, and now stocking up on pemmican. Here we go. All right, so only 3 simple ingredients go into making pemmican. Number 1, you'll need at least 3 pounds of lean beef, bison, or any other ruminant meat. So I have 3 pounds of lean ground beef for my pemmican. You'll also need at least, half a pound of tallow for 3 pounds of raw beef, okay? So this is my tallow. And you're gonna need some salt if you would like to salt your pemmican. The only special equipment that you need to make pemmican is an oven or a food dehydrator. I'm gonna be using my oven. You'll need a food scale or some other way to ensure that the tallow and the dried beef are of equal weight. And you'll need a food processor or a blender or a mortar and pestle, some way to grind the dried beef into a fine powder. All right, so the first step is you're gonna need to preheat your oven to 170 degrees if you're dehydrating in an oven. Next, you're gonna put some parchment paper on a large cookie sheet and drop all your meat onto it. And you're gonna need to make sure that it's in a flat single layer and all the pieces are as small as possible. Then you're gonna put it in the oven, the middle rack, and make sure you leave the oven door cracked so that the moisture can escape. About 2 hours later, you're gonna wanna take the beef out of the oven to stir it around. You just wanna flip it over and break it up more, making sure that all parts are exposed and the meat is in the smallest pieces possible. This is gonna ensure that the meat becomes completely dehydrated. Then you're gonna put it back in the oven for an additional 2 hours before coming to check on it again. So at this point, my meat was pretty dry, but it still could get a little bit drier. There were still some soft pieces. So I ended up just putting it back in the oven, turning the oven off and letting it sit for the rest of the night. Okay, so it is currently the next morning. The drying process took a little bit longer than anticipated, but that's okay because you really want to make sure that this meat is dry. All the moisture is out. And so this is what we are left with. All of that ground beef is completely dry. Every piece is very crispy feeling. It's not cooked, it's dry. It's like granola, but beef. So what I'm gonna do now is complete the process. So I'll be weighing this out to make sure I have equal amounts of tallow and beef. Then I'll be grinding it in the food processor and then mixing the dried beef powder with the tallow and setting it, cutting it into pieces, tasting it, and vacuum sealing it. So this is the consistency you want the beef to be, like a fine powder. There will be some chunks, but you want it as fine as possible. All right, so in this bowl, I have 8 ounces of the dried and dried and grinded beef. We'll go with that. And so the next step is to add an equal amount of weight of melted tallow. I actually ended up having a whole pound of the dried beef, but I only have 8 ounces of tallow, so the dogs, I guess, get the rest of it. What do you think? Better than dog food, right? Add the tallow in. You want it to be melted. It can be warm. Well, it should be warm if it's melted, but it can't be hot. And then you're just gonna stir it all together to incorporate all of the beef with the tallow. You don't want it to make any puddles though. You just want everything to be evenly coated. Okay, so I now have the half a pound of tallow mixed with originally a half pound of the beef, but it's a good thing I had more beef because it ended up needing more like 12 ounces of beef for that half pound of tallow. And so as you can see, it's just all mixed together, kind of like a graham cracker crust, if you've ever made something like that, or like a cheesecake. And it's to where, you know, I can form it to the bottom of the bowl and smooth it out without there being any puddles of tallow. So I changed my mind about the glass dish because my glass dish is really big for the amount of pemmican I have. And instead, I'm making these cute little pemmican balls. Forming the pemmican into little balls is just like making meatballs, except for there's no raw beef. It's dried beef and tallow. I have my glass dish full of pemmican balls. Okay, yeah, you can kind of see it now. So the only thing left to do now is let them set. So I'll put them in the fridge for a couple of hours and then I get to try them out. It is later in the day now and my pemmican balls are all set. So they just hung out in the fridge most of the day so that tallow could harden up. And it's time for me to try one. I don't know if you can really see the texture, but it kind of looks like, if you've ever seen a carnivore bar, it kind of looks like that, but in ball form. So I didn't salt these because I like to add salt to my food afterwards because some days I want more salt than others. So I'm gonna put a little salt and give it a taste. That's interesting. Definitely something that I will be eating in case of emergency, or if I'm going on a camping trip or something and I can't bring any other food. But you know what? Now I'm taking another bite and I'm chewing through it. It's actually kind of tasty. It is not bad at all. I'd definitely say it's better with salt, but it's like yummy. All right, cool. So I got about 25 pemmican balls here, and that was 3 pounds of lean meat reduced down into a pound of meat after drying out. So I'm gonna vacuum seal these. And put them away for a rainy day. What's really cool is each of these balls is about 25 grams, and I put them into a recipe calculator, and so for each 50 grams of this recipe you're getting like 40 grams of protein. I think it was like 400 calories, like 28 grams of fat. So two of these little balls could be a meal in case of emergency, or you know, other situations like camping trips, hiking. Yeah, cool. Okay, so next I'm going to vacuum pack them. I found this vacuum sealer on Amazon. It was really cheap. I think it was only like 25 bucks. So I would totally recommend this. It was really easy to use. The instructions were pretty straightforward, and it came with some bags, and definitely 100% got the job done the way I needed it to be done. And there you have it. That's the entire process from start to finish of how I made pemmican. And I have these little balls here, nice and tidy, vacuum sealed, and I'm gonna put these up in a cabinet because they are shelf stable to use when I need some food on a rainy day. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel for more carnivore fun, hair fun, lifestyle fun. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.